So this is the game that I have personally been playing for a very, very long time. Now, granted, that is off and on. The game's name is Shorebreak, and it is one of the, I guess I would say, in depth surfing games that I have ever gotten to play. It is extremely in early development and could possibly be a moderately abandoned project. But having said that, it does host some of the best surfing physics and some really cool gameplay elements that I would really love to see in future surfing games. And to the developers, man, if you guys are still working on this, it would be so awesome because there is so much potential. I believe so much in the project, and it has been years. I mean, I was playing this back in college in the back of the class while I was studying. Well, studying this game, I guess. But anyway, so I guess some of the prominent features, just but even off this loading screen, we have a little island. You can see we can kind of scroll around it. I've never really used these, but we have surf spots all around the island. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce much of this other than Beginner Beach. Now, in the bottom right hand of this, you can see that there's an arrow, and that's actually indicating the swell direction, as well as the direction up here. You can see this is 202 degrees. The swell is 9 foot. The tide is 3.3 meters. Now, you have a day and an hour advancer. This changes the actual swell direction, the swell size, and the tide, which individually affects all of the surf spots. You can see this surf spot. I'm going to call this kind of on the northeast part of the island, just if this is north, I guess. And right now we have a good swell angle and a good swell size, so I'm going to pop right in. It's getting dark, obviously, since it's nighttime. Now you have this little green dot. That is where you take off from in this game, and hitting enter on the keyboard advances and saves the spot you're at. And then the two other controls are G and H. I believe G resets you. Yeah, resets you right back to your spawn point that you have set, and H summons a wave. Apart from, it being, I guess, on the sparser side of visuals, one thing to notice is how the waves actually change as the size and the direction and the tide changes. And as far as I've noted, it can actually make a dramatically different change to the waves themselves, where it kind of feels like you're riding a different wave. Sometimes it's hollow, sometimes it's a roller, and that's something that I think a lot of games have never been able to really capture perfectly. So for this wave here, we have what appears to be a right-handed reef break. And I think there's a setting to change whether you're goofy or regular. In real life, I am a goofy surfer. So, yeah, doing my best switch stance here. And as you can see, peels off pretty nicely. If I get the mouse up here, I know it's kind of distracting. You can see down the line, really cool angle down the wave line. You can see how it's building up. And you can actually see when the wave is peaking. You can see we have a closeout section right here. I'll just pop out the back. I'd say I am a very average surfer, but this game does, for all intensive purposes, satiate my need for the feeling of surfing that I feel like a lot of games miss. It feels like the rail is, moderately accurate. You feel when the rail grabs. You can feel when the fins release, and that's something that, if I could say it again, a lot of games don't give me that feeling. And there's a lot of other surf games out there, but I don't know why it's so hard to really accurately grasp the feeling of surfing. And to me, this game feels like it was made by someone who knows. Oh, look at that little tube right there. Someone who knows exactly what surfing feels like. Granted, take it with a grain of salt. It's a very, very bare bones project that just has some really good background. Talking about the controls a little bit, we got the WASD controls. A and D, for the most part, are like gliding on the rail, and W and S are like putting your weight forward or backwards. So like on that turn right there, that was, see, the fin slid out. That was an an A and an S turn right there to kind of put weight. And I think the little surfer, let's get him isolated here and take a closer look at him as the wave breaks onto the island behind us. If we look at him, you can see the board tilt. When I hit S, we're actually physically moving backwards. So I don't know what type of coding is involved in that, but hitting S goes backwards. We're hitting W now, we're going forward. But as you're on the wave, you don't notice a dramatic increase or decrease in speed, I would say. But it definitely is sort of like a stall or putting your weight forward and pumping really hard. They just coded it in there to push you physically forward and backwards, the player model. And obviously as we turn, we can see the player model actually does a pretty good job of body. I guess I would call this body locum. We're wearing one on the head. I'm trying to think of the actual word for that. The animations. There we go. The animations, I would say, are actually pretty decent animations. You can see as we're closer onto the surfer here how he's shifting his weight backwards, weight on the back foot for a little cutback. Let's say almost a little under the lip snap. And then we're going to put our weight forward and start pumping down the line. Generate some speed. Now you can do airs in this game, although I will say it's a bit clunky. Let's try and hit the lip right. Actually, not a bad attempt right there. So to do an air, you can hit space or you can hit the lip. Doing space is kind of, I guess, like doing a chop hop or an ollie, so to speak. Like if I hit space right here, you can see we get just a little boost. It says jump on the score line. Let's get a cool angle looking back at him right here. I mean, what game really has that feeling of size and magnitude? You know, the wave speeds up and slows down based off of where the reef is and how it's breaking. There are so many things. I could go on and on about the features in this game that I just think other games really, really desperately need. A little left there. So let's go ahead and poke over to this spot and surf. Let's see where they have a set up off the right or left. It looks like they have a set off the left. You can see some pretty basic assets. I believe this was developed on Unity, but we still have that big swell size, 9 feet, and we are taking the plunge in the dark. Let's go ahead and spawn a wave in and see what type of size we're dealing with since we're at a different break on the island. Looks like we definitely have less size. That's instantly apparent, but maybe we can scramble into this one. Yeah, looks like we can. And you can see, I'm going to scroll us around here, right off the bat, that the wave is inherently breaking differently from the other wave. And that kind of diversity of wave selection actually goes a long way in my books, because I really do feel like I get the power of choice and the waves actually matter that they're different. You can see we kind of have sections. It's not really the stand-up right that we were on previously. As that wave closes out, we can see into this little bay that was depicted on the map. So let's go back out and go over to another spot. So the purpose of this video for me is to not only show what this game has done, which I think is just incredible, but I guess to wonder a few things. Whenever I play this game, I always think to myself, like, man, if this had a big development team behind it, would there be an amount of people who were willing to dedicate time and effort to play this game? And, you know, we look at other surfing games like True Surf that have actually had a good bit of success. And I do think that this has the elements of a great surfing game, something that we don't see that much. And another thing to mention right here, control-wise, we'll pop into it. If you hit Y, yeah, there we are. I haven't played this in a little while. We can actually get into a first-person mode, which actually, once again, you see how my head tracks with the actual animations. I just love that my head is looking in that right direction. If you're going to do a big roundhouse cutback, you turn up and look back, and there you go. The head is falling right where I'd expect it to be looking, and I feel like I get a pretty accurate sensation of what it would actually feel like if I was out in the water throwing back big cutbacks and tossing buckets of spray, which definitely not my forte, as I said earlier, but something I still do enjoy immensely. My hope is that either they keep working on this thing Maybe give it to somebody who keeps the project going and works on it to make it a complete game, or that somebody's out there taking notes on what they see from a game like this, because other surf games just don't quite have the complexity. If you are wondering, I will have the game and the download to the game linked in the description. It is not perfect. There are bugs to get through the tutorial, which you have to do to start free roaming the island. I got bugged out for a little while there trying to get past the tutorial stage, which is a little frustrating. It took me like 3 times, and you have to start from the beginning. But I'll have it all linked down below so you guys can check it out if you are interested in it. Maybe give the developers a little bit of love or insight and encourage this game to keep progressing, because I think that having good waves in a game, as cheesy as this may come off, having good waves in a game is just one more thing adding to the beautiful realism of a game world. And I think it could make such a big difference if we had awesome, real, physical water fluid waves that were rolling through. And for me personally, I'd love to have a great surfing game. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. Is this one of the best surfing games that exists to date, or am I missing something? Let me know. Cheers.